Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey everybody, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, and today I'm very excited to have a special guest on the podcast, Cara Russell. Cara is a writer and producer with numerous network credits on Great American Family, Up TV, and Hallmark, including some of my favorites, such as Catering Christmas, featuring Daniel Lissing and Merritt Patterson, Fall into Winter, a favorite of Lori Loughlin fans, and Twas the Text Before Christmas, starring everyone's heartthrob, Trevor Donovan. If writing and producing were not enough, Cara is an author of the book The Art and Business of Screenwriting, and VP of Development and Production for Motion Picture Corporation of America. Welcome to the podcast, Cara. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for the invite to be here today.
Of course.
I love your background. It's not a background, it's your house. The tree's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. We finally got our decorations up about a week or two ago.
They look fantastic.
Thank you.
We should have you on set. You can decorate some of the houses.
Thank you. That would be fun. I've never been on a movie set, but I'm sure that it's a lot of fun. I love having screenwriters on the podcast. Everything starts with the story and script. Back in 2019, my dad was finishing a master's degree in screenwriting from the University of Georgia, and I got the opportunity to attend classes, workshops, and screenings with him. I'm fascinated by the whole creative process and the craft that goes into producing a screenplay.
So your dad's a writer?
Yes, he is.
Has he had Christmas movies made?
He hasn't had anything sold yet, but he has just finished a really cool project called The Collateral, and he's working on two projects, one of which I'm co-writing with him that will probably work well on Hallmark or Great American Family.
Great. We'll have to chat offline about that.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you. Well, I know the listeners are excited about this interview, so let's get started. I've heard it said that an artist's work is a product of their life and environment. Do you think that observation applies to you? And can you tell us a little bit about your background and upbringing and what led to your desire to have a career in the TV and film industry?
Gosh, I do agree with that. I think it's everything we experience, life, friends, people, conversations you pass, like, when people walk by, you hear snippets of conversation, news stories.
Mm-hmm.
Though sometimes I think, I don't know, they say real life is stranger than fiction. And I do agree that that's true. So I grew up in Ohio and moved to LA, went to UCLA for their writers program. I just always wanted to be a screenwriter. My background was journalism.
That's
and
awesome.
Just kept working. It's tough to break in, and you can't give up. That's what I would tell any aspiring writers. You really can't give up. It's
never give up.
It can take years and years and years to break in, which it did for me. And you just keep working on the craft, keep studying it. And I don't know if I answered the whole question. I don't remember all of it.
You answered it perfectly. What was your first big break and how did that come about?
So I was working at Fox, the studios, and I was Fox's head mentor for the Young Storytellers Foundation. It's an amazing program. It was teach fourth and fifth graders in the LA area how to write screenplays. So I was in charge of 10 adults, all industry people, and we go into an elementary school once a week. We do this program twice a year for 10 weeks each time. And I got to network meeting the other volunteers who were also helping. And one woman was a producer, Libby Beers, and she brought me a book and said, hey, can you adapt this into a script? And I said, yes. Oh my goodness. Like the biggest breakthrough ever. I was always grateful to her for that. And that ended up being my first movie, Heavenly Match, on the Up Network.
That's awesome.
And that was just through volunteering. So everybody says it's who you know. And that's so true.
I love that. Yeah. I still haven't had a chance to see that one, but hopefully in the near future I can check it out.
It's really cute. It's based on a book, and the book is really sweet too. So I would tell everybody to.
I'll have to
And
check
that
it
book,
out.
oh gosh, I'm blanking on the title because it was slightly different. But if you Google it, it'll show up. Can't believe I'm blanking on it.
Heavens to Betsy.
Yes,
Okay.
oh my gosh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I actually recently watched an interview with you with one of my fellow podcast friends, Chad, from the Great American Chat podcast. And I remember you mentioned that.
Oh my gosh, well, thank you for remembering, filling in
Of
my memory.
course. Of course. Before you broke into the business, what kind of jobs did you have? Anything that contributed to developing your skill as a writer and anything that inspired you?
Good questions. So my background was journalism, and after college, I lived in Austin, Texas, and worked for a magazine, Country Line magazine, and I was in charge of writing feature articles. I got to interview country music artists, rodeo cowboys, and
Wow.
it was such a great experience for writing and being published. And
That's
TJ Greeny, I think he still owns the magazine in Austin, and that was a huge boost. So I could say, hey, I'm a published writer. And I just kept
that's
studying
awesome.
screenwriting because I always knew I wanted to write movies. So it just
Yeah.
gave me a chance to just keep writing.
Oh, I love that. Do you have a favorite country music artist that you got to interview?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Tim McGraw and Faith Hill were the nicest
That's great. Yeah.
people. Everybody was very nice. I have to say, Kenny Chesney, Toby Keith, like I'm dating like some of the artists, Garth Brooks, like just everybody was incredibly nice. The country
That's
music,
so great to hear.
a nice place.
Yes. All great artists as well.
Oh yes, they all have amazing songs that
Yes.
I still.
Yes. What does a Cara Russell typical workday look like? How much is absorbed in writing and how much involves the business end of things? And what is your favorite part of that workday?
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like the workday is 24/7. So I have my day job. I work for MPCA, Brad Boy's company. Brad's brilliant, amazing. He
Yes.
makes the Christmas movies. He did Dumb and Dumber back in the day, Kingpin, some amazing comedies. And so my day job is developing scripts with other writers. So I work with a lot of new writers working on their projects. And then on the weekends, that's when I work on my own scripts.
That's awesome. And Hardee's know of MPCA because of Brad Cravoy, and they are a producer of the show.
Yes. Yep. We love that show. The
Yes.
show. And we love listening too.
Yes. Speaking of the Hardee's, just to go into that a little bit, is MPCA still involved with When Calls the Heart? And if so, do you have any teasers for the upcoming season?
Oh my gosh, I'm afraid I'd be fired if I say anything. But
That's totally okay. That's totally all right. We're
like
excited.
it's
for
a
all.
great show, great writers, great cast.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And the fans, I want to shout out to all the fans because the people who love these movies and shows are amazing. They're so dedicated and just there's so much kindness among like I see
Yes.
the fan boards, we see the comments, and it's really, really nice.
Halfway through season 4 is when I started watching live. So
Okay.
I'm not an original OG Hardy, as they say, but
To go back and pick up the first few
yes.
seasons.
Yes. Tell us about your writing process. Where do you get your ideas from? And do you ever complete a script and then think to yourself, this is a real dud? Or do you realize during the writing process that something is just not working and then ditch it before getting too deep?
All the time. Every draft, I'm like, this is terrible. This is a dud. Is this any good? But as a writer, you can't judge it when you're writing it. So I think of it like cookie batter. You have to mix the batter, you have to roll it out, and then you shape it. But you have to roll it out, and you can't judge it while you're doing that. Because if you judge it, you get in the way of the creativity. You just have to let it flow, and then you shape it. And scripts take up to like 20 passes, 20
Wow.
drafts. They can, because you're always tweaking things. You get into production, there's more notes, more drafts. So it's a process to write a script. So I would tell people don't judge it because it'll change and change again.
That's great advice. And my dad has said that before as well.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I've had scripts that did not work. And so I actually flipped the male lead and the female lead because it
Wow.
wasn't working, and then it worked.
Oh,
And my
wow.
advice for any writers, if something's not working and you're hitting a dead end, do the exact opposite of what you're trying to do. If you're trying to make your character go right, have them go left. And it just opens up everything.
That's great advice. And definitely something that I will take to heart when working on the script with my dad.
And your other question was, where does inspiration come from?
Yes.
It comes from life, friends, relationships, bad dates, um, Reddit. I read a lot of the things.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make up what some of these people ask about or talk about. So there's always something there. Some of the heartwarming stories.
Hmm.
And because you're allowed to write inspired by true events
Hmm.
in a script, you're not stealing if it's inspired by. If it's based on, you need rights, and that becomes a whole other thing. But you're allowed, you can do inspired by true
Yeah.
events.
Yeah. I've heard that. Write what you know,
Mm-hmm.
which
Or
is
what your
great.
friends know, or what you see happening around
Yeah.
you. And
Yes. What are a couple of your personal favorite projects that you've been a part of?
I love each one for different reasons. And obviously, right now for Christmas with Danica and Damon's project, and then Merritt and Trevor,
Yeah.
I'll have to say those two right now for Christmas.
Yes. I saw both of those, both very good and cute movies. I really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
Welcome. Walt Disney often said that we need a few failures along the road to success. What would you say is your biggest or most notable failure? And of course, what has been your greatest success, either personal or professional?
I think every pass that you get feels like a failure. Every time someone says, no, not for us, we don't want it, we don't like it. Like, there are a lot of failures in this industry, but you can't look at it as failures. You just have to look at
Yeah.
it as no means next opportunity. So you
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
keep going.
Yes, definitely.
And I would say getting my very first movie made
Mhm.
and then selling my very first script were the two biggest things, because
Oh,
it was after years and years of working and this being a
oh,
dream, it happened. And there's
yes.
still tons more work to keep doing, but that was a good feeling. And my friends from my first movie threw me a big party, and really, really wonderful.
Oh, that's very sweet. I love that. You've written and produced a lot of Christmas movies, so I'm guessing you're a big fan of the holiday season. What is your personal favorite holiday memory?
Oh my gosh, so many. I have a big family, and we always get together ever since I was little with cousins and grandparents, and now my nieces and nephews and baby cousins. So
Mhm.
I would just say family being together
That's
is
my
the
favorite.
just, and my mom's cooking, like
Mhm.
she's like gourmet chef almost, and
Oh,
so
wow.
the best meal, just, yeah, everybody now, especially as we're older, it's being together.
Mhm.
And as
Yeah.
kids, the excitement of Christmas.
Hmm. That's my favorite thing too. On Christmas Eve, on my mom's side of the family, we all get together and do our gift exchange and we read the Christmas story. And before that, we go to our Christmas Eve church service at my grandmother's church, which is always fun.
How nice. Yeah, we have the Christmas Eve service too. Yeah, that's really nice. And you realize it's not about the presents.
Nope.
Really
No.
isn't.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of the Christmas church service is when we all sing the last song and they turn the lights off and it's a candlelight. So we hold little tiny
Yes.
candles and sing Silent Night, I think is the song that we always sing.
Yep. And I love the joy to like, yeah, all the hymns. So
Yes.
great.
Yes. So your first Great American Family holiday feature was The Great Christmas Switch. What inspired that story?
So my mom is an identical twin, and my
Wow.
aunt is actually my godmother. And they actually switched dates. I think it was they took a test. Somebody took a test. One took a test for the other in high school or
Oh,
junior high, and then they switched dates a couple times, like college.
wow.
And the guys never found out.
Yeah.
And then one, when he was told later, was really mad, but he didn't know at the time. And that was just such a funny story. No, I mean, it was very PG, like they went to dinner kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I just thought that was such a funny story, that's where that came from. And of
Oh,
course, I love the Parent Trap.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Uh, like the three original and then the new Lindsay Lohan one
I haven't seen
when
that
she was
one.
little. But yeah, it's just such a fun concept.
Yeah. Yes,
So it's
it
fun to
is.
do that.
Yes. And I've always wondered how in movies like that they have the same actor with two different characters in one shot.
It's some pretty our director on that one, Ernie Barbrash, he's amazing. And there's certain ways the ways they film it, you have a stand-in and then you film the other, and then when it gets edited, it's a little bit of film magic. But
Yes,
Sarah Lynn played both characters. I think she did an incredible
I
job.
did. Yes.
I don't think she got enough credit for how great she was in that.
Many of our listeners, as you know, are fans of When Calls the Heart, so they know of Daniel Lissing and Lori Loughlin. What is it like working with those actors?
Lori is a sweetheart. I
Oh.
adore her. She's wonderful. She's part of the creative process, super collaborative. When we were working on Fall into Winter, we had a lot of conversations, and she just has really smart, good notes, really good insight into her character, the dynamics. She knows the genre really well. And
Mm.
she's just really a generally sweet, good person. So I would love to do another project with her.
Yes.
And then I didn't interact directly with Daniel, unfortunately, or
Oh,
Merritt. I know I wish I had, but I mean, they had people who worked with them on set, just all good things to say. Just good people, professionals. Like I've never heard anything bad
oh, that's good.
about it. It's a good group. Like it's a good group of
Oh,
actors, good crew, good team
yes.
to work with.
I've heard great things about all three of them as well. And
Mhm.
hopefully one day I will get to meet them in person because I've heard they're very kind.
I hope you do too.
And all fantastic actors as well. Three of my favorites.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed your Christmas movie from last year, Catering Christmas, and was intrigued by the concept. What was the inspiration behind it? And does your family have a special recipe you make around the holidays?
It's funny you asked that question because I don't know if you remember, there's the walnut fudge,
Yes.
but it wasn't walnut. It ended up being hickory nut.
Hmm.
My grandfather used to make hickory nut fudge, and you can never find hickory nuts anywhere. And it was the year before that, my mom and I were out for a walk over the holidays, and we found there was a hickory nut tree. No, it was during summer, I'm sorry. Whenever it was, we found hickory nuts. And so she was talking about how she grew up with the fudge. So
Hmm.
this was a few years ago. Sorry, it's all a blur of time.
Okay.
And, and that just got me thinking of like, how can I make a story around this really special fudge? And
Yeah.
that turned into kind of grew out from one nugget into the world of catering Christmas,
Yeah.
which I was told it's been in the top like two, three, four, like the top five on Netflix Global right now. So for
I
any of your national listeners, they can watch
yeah.
it on Netflix.
I just heard that too. That's amazing. It's a very cute movie. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And the actors did such a great job, all of them.
Yes. They did. Fantastic chemistry with the whole cast, especially Daniel and Merritt.
Hmm.
You had a big Netflix hit with The Night Before Christmas, starring Vanessa Hutchins. I was a massive fan of High School Musical growing up. How did Vanessa get cast for the lead role? Did you imagine her in that role when you were writing the script?
I don't think I knew it was going to be her. That was between Brad and Netflix with
Mhm.
the casting because Netflix chooses who they want in their movies. But we also worked with Vanessa on the Princess Switch series.
Wow.
She's great. I got to go on set for a few days for that. I actually have a tiny cameo in that movie.
Pretty cool.
Kind of fun, but she is super sweet. Her mom traveled with her. Her mom,
Mm.
amazing. Just really, really sweet and fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she did
she
a
was
great job.
fantastic. Yes. Can you give us a little background on your two latest Christmas rom-coms, Twas the Text Before Christmas and A Royal Date for Christmas?
So Twas the Text Before Christmas was originally titled Christmas by Chance, but it turned out that somebody else had already used that title. And I think
Oh,
Twas the Text Before Christmas is cuter anyway. So
yes.
it's a Great American Family for that title.
Yeah.
And that just started with for the last several years, there were so many stories coming out about people who connected through wrong text message. And for a while there was that thing where you dial a number up or a number off your own cell phone and message that person.
Wow.
And that led to some romances.
Yeah.
So if you actually Google romance from a wrong text message, tons of stories come up. People talking about how that's how they found their significant other.
That's
So that
awesome.
I just thought that was such a fun concept to play with.
Yeah, it
And
definitely is. And I thought that you did a great job with the writing and that movie. I really enjoyed it. That's another favorite of mine.
thank you. I
Of
appreciate
course.
that.
Of
I don't know if
course.
you remember the burnt turkey.
Yes.
Okay, so
But
originally I written that as they put a frozen turkey in a deep fryer, which you should never ever do because it explodes from the water pressure and vapor and temperatures.
oh
But they
no.
wouldn't let me do that. So I had to change it to lightly burned in the oven.
Oh no. Yes, that scene made me laugh.
But
Very
yeah.
relatable. Not for turkey, but last year when one of my cousins and I were making Christmas cookies, not only did I place them on the baking sheet the wrong way, we had one of those baking sheets with the rack with the holes.
Oh yes.
And I chose not to put the dough on the flat baking sheet, but the other one. So the dough just went through the rack. And then on top of that, we charred them. They were
Oh
completely blackened.
no. Well, I think that's the cooling rack, right?
I think so.
That's really funny, actually.
We just had to start completely over. We're like, okay, we're not going to use these. These are charred beyond repair.
That is really funny. So it's something like that that happens that you put into a script. Tell your dad to use that.
Definitely. Do you have any favorite scenes from those movies?
Okay, everybody's talked about it on the message boards, but when Trevor hugs Merritt, like
Mhm.
everybody wants that hug. That was just feel that hug through the screen.
Yeah.
And that was so sweet. I love that moment in
Yeah.
it. And the Paige, I think she did an amazing job playing the girl. Peyton played Paige, did an
Mhm.
amazing job too.
Yeah.
Little comedic genius there.
Yes, she did.
But and I love Merritt and Nana's. My mom's a Nana. That's where Nana came from.
Yeah.
And I love their connection too.
Me
I just
too.
think them came together really, really well.
Yes, I think so too. I really enjoyed both of those scenes. And I've actually met Trevor in person. Such a kind human being.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Were you at Christmas Con or
Drama drama last year.
did you get a picture with him?
I did. I
Good
did.
for you.
Yes. I got to talk to him for a few minutes and, share some of my favorite projects of his. Very nice guy. I'm glad I got to meet.
Trevor's really great.
Yes. And hopefully you will get the chance to go to Rama Drama someday. It's a very fun event.
I need to get out. I've talked to Trevor, but I haven't met him in person. We've been
Yeah.
on Zoom calls and calls.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
a very family oriented kind of community, is what I would say. The best description of that.
great. And I'm friends with Riley, who wrote, and we worked with her for my
Yes.
on the was Homecoming Harvest.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
was
Yeah, that was
beautiful.
another good one. Yeah.
Danica was really hands-on with making that work for her character. She's brilliant. She is so smart, detail oriented, and she's really invested. Like she really cares about making the absolute best movie possible. So it was a lot of fun working with her, tweaking it to make sure that it was perfect for her character. And she came up with the "Hey buddy" line. That was hers.
Aww.
Because we were talking about the scene and what we needed and the backstory and everything going on. And she came up with that. And I thought that was really funny and played well.
Yeah, I think so too. And she's fantastic as well. I really enjoy her movies. And unfortunately, I didn't get to meet her at Rama Drama, but maybe sometime in the future I can.
Hopefully next time. Christmas
Yeah.
Con. She was just
Yes.
there.
Yes, she was just at Christmas Con. And I grew up reading some of her math books when I was still in school.
That's fantastic.
Yes. I think we still have maybe one or two of them somewhere in the house.
Oh my gosh, that she would be thrilled to hear that.
Yes. let's move away from your screenwriting career for a moment and talk a little bit more about the Motion Picture Corporation of America. What is next on the horizon for MPCA?
The holidays. It
Holidays?
was when the last Christmas movie aired. I'm like, wait, Christmas is over, right?
Yeah.
No, not even Christmas yet.
Oh,
It's a funny moment.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just getting ready for next year, figuring out what the buyers want, what scripts we have, figuring out talent commitments, who's looking for what project, and hopefully we'll get to make as many or even more next year.
Fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to the future and seeing what is in store next.
We are too, because we don't know yet.
I'm sure whatever MPCA puts out will be fantastic.
We do have Netflix movies. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or what's been advertised yet, but check out Netflix Christmas
Yes,
movies.
definitely. My dad just ordered your book, Make Your Script Sellable, The Art and Business of Screenwriting. What inspired you to write the book?
Well, I hope it helps him.
Hmm.
I hope he likes it. And it was when COVID first hit. I've always wanted to write a book. I work with so many new writers, and I found myself giving the same notes over and over and over that I just said, I just need to write this as a book. And when COVID hit, social life shut down. We weren't going anywhere. That's when I just had time to focus and just wrote it, and then ended up being connected with a publisher who read it, liked it, and it was published. It happened really fast, actually.
Wow,
So that came out in February of 21. I think I wrote it
that's
like
awesome.
the summer before that, 2020.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hope it just gives like some insights. And it's things that I wish I had known when I was starting out.
Oh.
Because if you don't know it, you don't know. That's the hard part.
Do you have any plans to write any other books?
Not books. I'm always working on spec scripts on my own time, trying to think of new Christmas ideas. And
Yeah.
the part is coming up with an idea that hasn't been done yet, finds a new way into the story, but is still heartwarming and fun and romantic.
Yes. As we wrap up the interview, tell us what's in the pipeline for Cara Russell. Are there any other upcoming projects that you can share with my listeners?
I don't have anything going yet, so fingers crossed that next year brings some new things.
Yes. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
I'm hoping.
Yes. I can't wait to see what great movies you'll write next.
Well, thank you so much for all your support on all our movies. It
Yeah.
means a lot. It really does.
It's my
It
pleasure.
helps.
Yes. Of
We
course.
really appreciate it.
Yes.
And I appreciate it as a writer. Thank you for all the support.
Of course. Always happy to support. Before we close out, I have a segment here on the podcast where I ask my guests to share an inspiring quote or piece of advice. Is there a famous or inspiring quote or piece of advice that you would like to share with everyone?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I love Jack Kerouac's "Live, travel, adventure, bless, and don't be sorry." I think that sums up everything.
That's great advice. Yes.
I also love the quote, like, "Love all, harm none."
Yeah. That's great too.
If more people followed that.
Yes. Before we say goodbye, where can my listeners find you on social media?
Oh, I am Cara J. Russell on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And IMDb.
Go follow her if you're not already. Fantastic
Cool.
writer. And it was such a pleasure chatting with you today. I had a great time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Like, I'm honored that you asked me. So nice to meet you face to face here. And thank you again for
Yes.
the show.
Yes. All right, everybody. I think that wraps up my interview with Cara Russell. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like this video and share your favorite movie written by Cara in the comments. If you want to stay up to date on all of my movie reviews and interviews, you can subscribe to this channel and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.